Where did I see my first Roland instrument? In the studio that I worked with Toshi and Kudo for Major Force, 808, 303, classic, classics. Obviously being Japanese, they were right there when that technology was being developed. That was my first real experience properly. I knew about the 808 because of records that I'd grown up with. I mean, I bought, Grandmaster Flash records, and I bought Africa Bambaataa records. You saw it in kind of ID magazine, you saw it with hip-hop guys hanging out when you could, in those days, because all you had was a once-a-month magazine or whatever. You knew about it, but until I got into that studio environment, that was really the first time I got to play with stuff like that. Roland generally for me is incredibly appealing because of the history of a lot of the stuff that it's made have been so archetypally important in the music that I've come from, essentially being electronic music. So whether it is, going back to things like 808s and 303s, those have been used on pretty much every record I've made since I started making records. I've been working a lot with art and music in different environments, galleries, you're touring, you're DJing, etc. So I wanted to sort of take a lot of that energy into the record. I started with just a laptop, some keyboards and guitar and bass, and kept it very simple, and then built from there. I'm working between different styles of music, and I like to balance between organic and analog, and let's say VST and more modern synths. The System-8 is fantastic. I've just got this new synth, so we're just, when me and Steve, who I work with, etc., just sort of getting our heads into the possibilities and, this whole Roland cloud thing that exists. And obviously, you can take the keyboard in so many different directions. But it was appealing that you had this kind of classic element to it. A keyboard like this is fantastic because you can do a lot with it in context to having the cloud. So you can take it into a whole other world where you've got access to so many things, but you don't have to suddenly have 50 keyboards in your room. For me, it's all about creating, being, constantly trying to create, and I'm fortunate that I can work in different mediums. It's a really amazing thing to do. I don't think I'm actually somebody that would want to be a full-time film scorer or a full-time songwriter. I love being able to weave between, and equally in the way that I like music as a performer, it's great to be in a band, and it's also great to go and DJ. Creating is a very important human thing, and to be able to freely create and to open your mind. Let's say that's probably the best bit of advice I give, is keep an open mind about music, about technology, about, all of it, and how you can combine that, I think creates great things. I think, what I think is important about UNKLE is that it's, as a process, it's an open process. You can take from rock and roll, you can take from hip hop, you can take from electronica, you can take from punk, you can take from blues and create something new. Always keep an open mind. You don't lose sight of being open, because a lot of the time the environment around you can close you down. Just keep an open mind and also build community, collaborate, support, work together. It's an amazing world out there, and we have amazing opportunities, especially through technology, to connect to people and create. And I think, especially when we live in such a virtual world, just going and playing music is incredibly important. It's part of the soul of what we are as human beings.